Okay, so you're here because you have a question and you're not sure what to do. So basically, here's what's going down is that we're working on an insect colony thing. So um, this is, you guys have a bees one, and I have an ant one. So I'm going to explain ants and you guys can figure it out for bees. So here we go. We've got a model that describes the change in queens as well as the number of workers, right? So we have some equation that we can use to derive this, and the idea is that you've went through this and you started reading all this, and there's kind of a question: can you defend this model? Can you explain how this model comes about? So that would be a more advanced differential equations type question, right? And so it actually breaks it down pretty good. This is like a light scientific paper, so it's a good option to try. And then we have a way of describing this kind of worker function that is one of the values in here, this kind of u of t function. Okay, and so what we see is that we have different ones that we want to test, and we want to know a little bit about how does this optimize or how does this non-optimize our colony, how does this change, and then there would be deeper questions about how do we know that's going to arise. So what we can do is, if we go over to the MATLAB, I've done it with ants. Again, you'll have bees. So one of the things is these are that set of differential equations up there. I did not pass the variables. I went ahead and hard-coded the constants. So if we jump over to here, you can see that we have these. And if you start going through, you have an explanation of what each one is, right? So then I'm able to build those. I also picked out the u function I want, and you can see how I'm commenting out the u function that I don't want yet. So I've built each of these u functions. Now, these are the set of differential equations that I'm going to use, and you can see how I'm making notes for myself up top. And then what I've set is I set up the time span that I want to look at it. I picked out an initial condition, what I think is a viable, like, one worker, no queen, something like that, so that we know kind of where we're at. And then I try to solve that differential equation. I go ahead and give myself the maximum because I was asked, how many are there? And then I make a plot of it. And that's going to generate me some information. And then the question is, what does this plot mean? And you got to go back to understand this is time versus y2. Y2 was, if we jump over here to y2, that's going to be this equation, which is this equation, which means it's the queens, okay? So that's how I'm going to solve this, and it's a pretty straightforward differential equation application, and the idea is that you're able to read this and make sense of it, okay? Once you get that, you should be able to code those into the homework system. Might be awkward to get the equation in there, okay? Good luck.